You are watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Welcome. I am Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine, and I'm really excited to introduce you to our special guest today, Laura Hollick. So Laura is an award-winning artist and shaman. She's the creator of Soul Art Studio, a business that's devoted to guiding people to connect with their spirit and create a life and business that expresses it. It's pretty awesome. And Laura, through her own healing journey, developed several unique processes that allow for deep healing and transformation. And she now shares these methods with thousands of people all over the world. And, she's a bit of a celebrity entrepreneur as well. Laura, there was a documentary created about her life and art by Bravo TV. And she's hosted and produced over 500 public broadcast radio shows. And she's even produced her own movie, which I hope she'll share a little bit about with us. So Laura describes her art as a divine love affair. I love that. And her business really grew as this natural evolution by combining creative expression, body healing, and mental and spiritual transformation. Welcome, Laura. It's such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you and all people who are on that path of becoming a business heroine. What an amazing word and archetype and title and something to really think about as women entrepreneurs and people who are creating our own life, that we're heroines. We're creating something that is our own expression, and we are on that path. So I'm thrilled to dive into this conversation and see where it's going to lead us for today.
Yes, thank you so much. And you're right on. So, okay, the burning question that I've had in my mind since we scheduled this, I'm like, I've got to ask Laura about this, is, there's this stigma out there about starving artists. And you always knew you were an artist, or I'm assuming you were naturally an artist growing up, or how did you know that you could stay true to that, being an artist, with all the stigma out there, and I'm the messages from society saying, there's no money in art. How did you know you could stay true to that and have a prosperous livelihood and business for yourself at the same time?
Well, I don't think I did know that I could. When I was younger, I was definitely very creative, very imaginative. And I just thought, oh, well, that's what I'll do. I didn't really comprehend the idea that I couldn't do that. But then when I actually went to go and do it, I realized that, whoa, this is really hard. It wasn't flowing as easily as it did in my own imagination at the time. And so I did really struggle. And then I became aware of the concept of the starving artist because I was pretty much living it at the time. And so I went through a massive transformation. And I actually think in many ways I may have been holding like the DNA code for many people to shift through that so that I could really embody my creative spirit on earth and thrive at the same time. So a lot of it has really been this journey of being able to unify the dream world, the imagination, the dreams, the desires of who I was and who I want to be with this real world where we do use money and we do interact with people and we have structures and systems, really unifying those. And as they did, then I was able to live as a thriving artist. But it wasn't always that way. I'll put it that way. It was not always the case.
Wow. So it was really just you did go through the whole starving artist game and not game, but you went through that experience and you cracked through that. And it's so awesome. Thank you for doing that because when you do that, you've created a path for others who are artists, who want to be thriving artists. And also, what's so inspiring about it is just you have a very unconventional career. I mean, there's no job description out there for what you do, and one of the principles that we preach at Business Heroine is that you really can create and invent your own dream business based on your unique genius and passions and self-expression. So I would love to hear, how did you go about inventing your own business and what advice do you have for those who want to create their own career, that there's no job description, there's no existing box out there for it?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I think that it is essential right now that all of us open ourselves to the concept that this is how we create careers now. A lot of the things that we thought were a career path, they don't even really exist. I mean, of course, there are some things like there's doctors and lawyers, but there's so many people now that are called to just be themselves. And so what is the job title for being yourself? And so there can be a lot of confusion around that. And just right now we're at this place that we can open up to the belief that being yourself is your career path. And so then it's this transition of, okay, well, so what does that look like? What does that mean? How do we actually make money being ourselves? What do we do? And for me, the transition from actually being that starving artist person to being a thriving artist, and it continues to unfold and evolve, and there's always further I want to go, but really having a foundation where I can be myself and feel like that's enough and like it can sustain me. The transition really is a healing journey, like where we're cleansing the old belief systems. We're opening our mind and our heart to believe that we're enough and that what we have to offer has value. And then actually clarifying and crystallizing that value so masterfully that other people can see it and recognize it as well. So being an artist, a lot of the journey, and I'll just say when we think of artists, some people think of putting pictures on a wall or visual. That's one version of an artist. I think an artist is someone who approaches their life with creativity. They approach what they do with creativity, and that could be in gardening, designing, coaching, mentoring, being an author. It's really just that you approach your life with your full self and you let it unfold, you let it be organic and natural to you. So there is a healing journey to claim the value of that, because it's just you being you. It's just like you're sitting there breathing and it's like, oh, well, how is this of value? But we do have to discover that value. That's the journey of the artist, is to learn, like, what is unique about you? What do you bring to an experience? What is your presence doing when you're in a room with other people? Crystallize that, and then you'll be able to actually offer it in a way that people see that it has values and be able to pay you for that.
It's so brilliant. I love it. So, and you talk about different archetypes. I'm curious. Fill us in on the archetypes.
Well, I actually like using the word icon, and I use the word new icon for like a new paradigm icon. And an icon is it's a little different than an archetype, but it's similar. When we think of archetypes, it's like, okay, there's Venus, or there's Diana or Athena, or these archetypes that have their own mythology to them. And they can be guides for us, and they can inspire us. But an icon is someone where there's nobody else who is that. They are the one. They are the archetype. And so when I'm guiding people, or I want to inspire people to really become the version of themselves, not a version of an archetype that already exists, but the icon of who they really are, the archetype of their spirit, that they're not copying anyone else. They're not following some other mythology. They're actually creating and inventing their own. And so when I'm working with people to discover their own iconic essence, it really is the journey of discovering, who are you? What is your value? What is your uniqueness? And that's a creative process. It is something that takes time. No one can hand it to you. No one can say, okay, this is who you are. You actually have to live your life and discover it. So on that path of being an entrepreneur, one of the things that I think isn't spoken of very often is there's kind of this romantic notion that you just go in and you're going to make 6 figures in 6 months or something, and it's all going to just be perfect. And you can make 6 figures in 6 months. In fact, you can make it in a day. But the truth is that to be that level of crystallization where you can manifest that and attract that, it's the journey to discover the clarity and land on the gravity of your own iconic essence. Like when you land in who you really are, you've got gravity, and you will be like a vortex, and things will naturally come to you. And so, but that takes a process. It's like you're winding through your own labyrinth to find that core place that you can land in. And when you land in it, well, then you know what your branding is. You know what your marketing is going to be. You know what your offers are going to be. And it all just happens. It unfolds from that place. But there's this journey, which can take time. In fact, for me, it took over 10 years to kind of labyrinth through to land on the core of my own iconic essence, my own archetype, so I could feel like, oh, I get it. I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I know what my challenges are, and I can move through them, and I can be visible, and I can share. And there's more for me to heal and move through. But, there's a point where you land on the center.
Yeah.
And that took me over 10 years. So I think that when people are starting their entrepreneurial path, give yourself that breathing room to discover who you are, your own archetype, your own iconic essence. And then things can grow really quickly when you've landed. You've landed on that foundation of your own self.
That's so awesome. And what's so great about the community of business heroines that's coming together, people like you, I mean, you said it took you 10 years to really land in that for yourself. And what you're also doing is you're paving that path for other people, and now your work helps people reach that place. And maybe it will still take them 10 years, but I'm guessing with your guidance, because you've navigated that journey, totally uncharted territory, that you can help take that process and help people get to that place even quicker so that they can.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And also right now, because time is speeding up, I know we can all feel it. Things are just faster. More is happening. Things don't need to take as long.
Yeah.
But I love being able to share the reality of the time factor, even though things are faster now. Because I think that there's a pressure that we put on ourselves when we see someone else who's reached a certain point of a success or some version of it. And we think, oh my gosh, why am I not there? I should get there faster. But the truth is, if someone is a seed, like a tree, if a tree has a seed, to become this great big oak tree of majestic power, it didn't happen overnight, and it had to grow roots. It had to do a lot underground that nobody saw. A lot was going on. Nobody saw it. And then all of a sudden it had so much courage and it burst through the ground and it could start to grow. And the entrepreneurial path is very similar. You have a seed of an idea and then it needs roots. But nobody sees all of that, when you're developing and you're discovering, nobody sees that work. And I want to really put value on the time that it takes to develop that, because it is valuable, it creates a foundation, and it makes the outer growth, the success of money, so much easier and faster when all of that underground work has been done and that foundation has been laid. Yeah. So when I'm working with people, yes, we can speed up the process, but I don't want to take away the value of all of that foundational work that's really juicy. And it's so fun to discover who you are. It's so fun to figure out your own mythology and how signs and symbols show up for you and messages. I mean, that is just pure fun. And when we claim it as that, then we get to own it even more deeply, and things actually move faster when we allow ourselves to engage in the process and not try to make it faster.
Yeah. And that's a very feminine a place of feminine power to stand in, as well as allowing for space and honoring space and creating space instead of trying to force something to happen.
Totally.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So that's awesome. So tell us, how can the business heroines who are tuning in get more of you?
Well, there's a number of ways. Something that I would love to offer on that line of discovering yourself. I do have a bunch of free quizzes as a way to get insight into who you are, what's your own iconic essence, what's your unique way of expressing your creativity. So I have a bunch of free quizzes. That's a way that people can discover. And also through my website, through my weekly newsletter that I put out called Pure Inspiration. I mean, I love sharing. I'm in that place where I feel like my tree is strong and thriving, and I have a lot of fruit and flowers that are overflowing to share. So really through Facebook, the website, there's many ways that I overflow and share with people.
That's awesome. I love how you put that. That's so great. Thank you so much. And so we'll definitely make sure that we have links to all of Laura's fruits and flowers on Business Heroine magazine so that you can follow her and take those quizzes. How awesome. Thank you. So any last words of advice for emerging entrepreneur business heroines?
Definitely. One of the big questions that comes up is really just, how do I make money? Because it's so fun to talk about, the discovery, and yes, I want to do it, but I'm so stressed because I just want to make the money, and how am I going to make this happen? And I want to, put the value on that discovery time, but also I want to acknowledge the feelings that come up when really you've got to pay for something and maybe you want to hire someone, you feel like you can't afford it. To acknowledge that money is something to look at as well. One of the things that helped me to shift into a position of joy with money is I started making money a character in my own mythology. And I started interacting with it in a way that allowed me to enjoy the time that I had with money. So that was one thing. I changed my relationship with money, which made it just more fun. But also during the time when I was developing, I did have another job. And as I took off the shame that I had associated with having that other job, it actually, again, it moved it along faster for me to be able to let go of the job and go full time into my own art and my own business. So there's no shame in having some job that seems unrelated if you do want to have that money flowing so you can relax and develop and allow yourself to build that solid foundation for your business. So that's something, just to alleviate the stress, alleviate the pressure, let yourself enjoy receiving the money from whatever way it's coming, and let it be known that you're using that as a transition, as a bridge into your next level, and receive the money in that way. Because if you receive the money with resentment, like, oh, I'm doing this, and oh, I should be better, I should be further along, the money has that energy. And then you kind of punish yourself with the money, and it keeps you in that place longer than you need to. So changing the relationship with money, letting yourself receive money, even if it doesn't seem directly connected to your dream yet, in the big picture, it is connected because you might have to learn how to receive money in a joyful way, and that could be your opportunity to learn that. So that's some other things there. And then also, of course, do whatever you can to invest in building your foundation. If that means that you go for walks in nature to feel that you're relaxed, if it means you take a class, or if you work with a coach or a mentor, or if you spend time alone, or maybe it means you travel, whatever it is that allows you to build a solid foundation for your own self, what allows you to feel the most you, is going to help you to go faster into the land where you have offers that can make money directly with your dreams, that you can connect with people and be visible directly as the person you want to be. So I guess there's kind of three things that I'd love to leave people with is that, really change your relationship with money. Allow it to money to come to you in ways that maybe don't seem directly connected at first. And then do what you need to do to build the foundation so that you can receive money in ways that really do inspire you and that are fully directly connected with your dreams.
Thank you so much. That's just gorgeous. I love that message. Yeah, that's perfect. So thank you so much, Laura, for taking the time to join us today. You are a true business heroine in every sense of the word, and I'm really excited for our audience to start following you and take advantage of the fruits and flowers that are overflowing from you so they can build their foundation and really be paid to be them and live life that is just basically you exist and that's enough. And I'm so excited about what you're creating and just want to say thank you on behalf of everybody that you are serving.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So again, check out businessheroinemagazine.com and you can get all those goodies from Laura. And thank you for joining us, heroines, and thank you for joining us, Laura.
Awesome. Bye for now.
Okay, bye.
You have been watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.